Hello, my name is Chad Shepard, and I want to be one of the first to thank you for the chance to earn your business. Pete's RV Center has been family-owned since 1952, and of the 70 employees that work here full-time, we want to say thanks. Quick tips are going to be coming up following this video that teach you some ins and outs of RVs, some questions for first-time buyers, as well as how do I keep my camper clean and how do I keep it worry-free. So stay tuned, kick back and relax. I got a couple videos coming your way that will teach you a lot about RVing in a short amount of time. Thanks for thinking Pete's RV. A great quick tip, I hear questions all the time about what is 12 volt in my coach and what is 110 volt? 12 volt being a battery pack or the 110 volt being a generator or when we plug in the shore power. Most of our campers run off from 12 volt, whether we're talking about our lighting here, our water that comes out of the water pump, but there are a couple 110 volt or 120 volt items that only run when you're plugged into electricity. That's going to be our microwave, our TV, our air conditioner up top here, as well as our outlets. So those are the items that we have to be plugged into outside power, have a generator for. But on the 12 volt side, we have our fridge, our furnace, our water heater, all our lighting, our shower, our toilet. Those are all 12 volt or 12 volt propane combinations. So a lot of great camping can be done with outside power, without having 110 volt power that we plug into. So take advantage of it and get those great sites right at the state parks, right down by the water.
Sun exposure, road salt, bird droppings, insects, spills, odors, and germs. Keeping your RV new can be challenging to say the least, but keeping your RV healthy and clean inside and out has never been as easy and effective as it is now. Eco RV Pro provides two revolutionary eco-friendly products that not only maintain your RV's brand new exterior appearance, but also keeps the interior of the coach stain, odor, and germ-free to protect its value over time. These unique industry-changing products are Microbe Repel and Exterior Shield. As for the interior of your RV, unfortunately, it's the perfect breeding ground for harmful germs and bacteria. In fact, vehicles have 1,700 times more bacteria than households. These microbes lead to odors and stains and can even be the cause of dangerous superbugs. Eco RV Pro's interior product, Microbe Repel, is a permanent self-sanitizing disinfectant and protectant that is 99.99% effective in eliminating microbes, stains, and odors for a full 5 years, creating a permanent barrier on interior cabin surfaces, the ventilation system, and the cargo areas, resulting in a clean and healthy vehicle environment. Protecting your RV's exterior from the never-ending environmental attacks is challenging. These threats impact the appearance of your vehicle and its value. Eco RV Pro Exterior Shield creates a protective barrier that withstands these environmental attacks, from UV damage, acid rain, bird droppings, insect damage, including love bugs, hard water etching, and more. Exterior Shield is truly eco-friendly, with sustainable, high performance guaranteed for 5 years. Simply put, owning an RV that is protected by Eco RV Pro's truly green products not only helps maintain its new appearance, but also keeps it healthier and safer for you and your family.
A lot of first-time campers have questions about how to lock their RV door. It sounds strange, but it's not like something you have at your home. So let me give you a couple quick tips on this. As you notice in the front of the door, you're going to have two locks. You're going to have what they call a handle lock, which is your top lock, and then because it's hooked to the handle, but there is also a secondary lock. This is called a deadbolt. As we open the door a little bit, you can see here when we turn this red knob, the deadbolt, we get a little cylinder that pushes through and into the door frame of the camper. If we just do the handle lock, this lock here will be locked, but the deadbolt won't be in. When you go to service an RV, when you bring it to an RV dealership, we have a key that will allow us this pass-through key from the manufacturer, but we do not have a deadbolt. So if you deadbolt your coach when you bring it to the RV dealership and you don't leave them the keys, they won't be able to do the work that you need. So great quick tip. So just remember, when you're sleeping at night, you can always deadbolt it for more security, or when you're away and you have your keys with you. But when you bring it to the dealer's yard, just make sure you just lock the top lock. And as always, a little penetrating oil in there never hurts. Thanks for thinking Pete's RV.
Hey folks, Randy with Pete's RV TV here today. Another quick tip segment for you. I just want to take a couple minutes and show you some of the things that I bring with me when I go camping. I take a lot of phone calls from customers that have small problems while they're camping that do arise. And when I direct them on the best way to take care of that problem, they need a couple tools that they may not have with them. So if you put together a basic toolkit when you go camping, leave it right in the camper, no problem whatsoever. We can talk you through most anything. So some of the things that I bring with me is, first of all, I always bring some sort of light source, either something I can put on my head, or this little guy right here is kind of neat. We sell them in the store. It's got a magnet on the back so I can stick it to a piece of metal in the camper where I'm working, or it's got a hook on it. And it gives me some light underneath the cabinet or in the front storage compartment or by the battery, because nothing ever goes wrong in the daylight. It always happens at night, unless if you go camping with me. So a couple lights, which are nice to have, or even if you got just a regular flashlight that you store and keep charged in the camper. Another thing I bring is I've got a bag of fuses. So every fuse, every camper has multiple different size fuses in them, so I kind of got a bag of just a variety of everything that I run into in a camper, and good thing to have with me. Roll of electrical tape, never know. And you can fix most anything with electrical tape if needed. I also bring some crimp connectors, which you can buy in a kit like at your local home goods store or something like that. And these are just if I have to reattach a wire, or we have to shorten something up, or we have a mishap or something pulled loose, just to be able to make a crimp connection is nice. That will also work in conjunction with a pair of crimping pliers. And again, sometimes the kits you purchase will come with an inexpensive pair of pliers that you can use to get by for the weekend. Now, most campers are built with screws, obviously, and the type of screws they use are a square tip, or a screw head has got a square tip, so you need a special square tip to go to those screws, and that's this guy right here. If Josh can pan in on it, and you'll see I got a Phillips right next to it. Most people have a Phillips because that's what we have at home. Campers are a little odd, and they require that square tip. So this kit that I purchased from, again, one of the local box stores, it's a Milwaukee kit. I think it costs like $20. It's got everything I need in it. It's got a screw acceptor for my screw gun. You will need a screw gun as well. And it's got the square tips. It's got Phillips. It's got a couple Torx here, and it's got spares of all, because if you lose them like I do, nice to have a spare. But anyway, for the cost of this kit, I think it's just a great kit to, I have one at home and one in my local carry around toolbox that I do bring with me when I go camping. Sheetrock knife or a box cutter. This one actually folds up like a jackknife. I actually carry this one with me all the time, right in the pocket of my pants, but good to have. You never know when you're going to need that. Wire strippers and cutters. Again, if we have an electrical problem, a lot of the times we can talk you through it, or you can find it very easily yourself, but having a good pair of strippers on board, it makes that job a lot easier for us, stripping that wire back. I like to bring a couple pair of channel locks if I've got a plumbing issue, and usually I can get by with a binder if I got to tighten something up with the channel locks. And again, these can be purchased at your local box store. Christmas is a great time to pick this stuff up because they've usually got kits on sale, relatively low price, and you don't need the best ones. A lot of these tools are very expensive tools. This is how I make my living. You don't need the best tools for your basic kit that you keep in your camper. I usually will carry a Phillips and a regular screwdriver. These are like mid-size, so they're pretty much good for almost every application unless it's something specific. We've already talked about the crimpers. I do carry a pair of side cutters with me. Sometimes these are just a little easier to make a cut close to something or pull a staple out that may be in our carpet or what have you. But again, pair of side cutters. Needle nose. You can always get yourself out of a bind with a pair of needle nose, especially when you drop something in that spot that my little fat fingers can't get into. Needle nose makes it very easy for that. There is some neat small kits out there. Again, the big box stores, Sears, all of them have kits that have a couple different size open-end box wrenches. This is one of the ones I carry in the small kit that I have that's all over my toolbox because I left it open. I also bring a couple of adjustable wrenches with me as well. Reason for the adjustable wrenches is they're adjustable. We can use them for almost any size, anything to get you out of a bind. Again, these aren't tools to fix the problem per se, but enough to get us by for the weekend before you can get it in for service and get it repaired appropriately. An electrical tester. This particular one right here is for 120 volt power. Pretty much I'm just going to plug it into the outlet and it'll tell me if my power is good, tell me if it's wired properly, and tell me if power is present. So that's a good one. I take phone calls a lot where my TV's not working. Well, do you have power at the outlet? I don't know, Randy. Well, I'm having you plug something else in, but if you've got a quick electrical tester to plug it in, then you can tell me. This guy right here is for checking 12 volt power. It's called a stab tester, 12 volt tester. We'd hook this end to ground or anything pretty much metal on the camper, and then we can test our fuses with this guy here. I'm going to have Josh pan in on one of these fuses here. This is a great way to test our fuses. So if you can pan right in on that and see the two metal tabs on either side of the 40 there, Josh. Each one of those is a test point, so I can test if I've got power coming in the fuse, and I can test if I've got power going out of the fuse. So when you're looking at a whole fuse panel and you're trying to determine which one is the one for your furnace or your LP detector or something like that, which is labeled incorrectly, by testing both sides of all the fuses, we can quickly determine whether one is blown or not. And again, we would do that in conjunction with this tester here. This will also test if we've got power at breakers and things like that on the 12-volt side of things. So when you call me up and tell me that your slide out's not going out, I'm going to ask you if you've got 12-volt power to the breaker going through the breaker to the slide out. This is a great way to test that. This is another tester that I carry with me, kind of on the same lines of this one here, but I can actually put this next to any wire and it'll tell if it's a 120-volt wire, and it'll tell me if I have voltage present rather than putting it into an outlet. It's called a Wiggy tester. Multimeter. This is what I love for customers to have, because we can do all sorts of testing with this guy here. Not everyone's going to put this in their toolbox that they keep in their camper, because these can be a little bit more pricey. But if you've got like an inexpensive version of this and one of these, which aren't too bad, we can usually get by anything. So anyway, there's just some of the tools that I bring with me camping, and again, enough to get you out of trouble and a pinch. Maybe not make the final repair, but definitely continue on with your camping weekend if you are having a small problem. So just wanted to share that with you guys, and if you're looking for presents for Father's Day, birthdays, or even Christmas, great time to put this little toolkit together, and can be done for relatively inexpensive on the Father's Day, on the Christmas side of things, because that's when we see a lot of tools on sale at our local box stores. So thanks for watching Quick Tips with Randy today. Look forward to seeing you on the road, and happy camping.
Another great quick tip is, guys, I got questions about how far does my slide out go out? How close would you be parked to the edge of the campsite, or how far is my slide out going to come into my campsite? Well, guys, a quick, easy way to look at this is it's almost the exact same length of your arm. So this is a Cougar fifth wheel, and if you stick your back to the camper, then stick your arm out, it's almost exactly the length of the slide. So it's a really good indicator when you're backing onto your campsite how much room you have to work with. Just get out of your camper, and before you unhook, just give it the quick test, and then you'll know you don't have to rehook again, and you'll enjoy a great day at your campsite.
Hey folks, Randy here with Pete's RV TV today. We're in the gravel pit behind Pete's RV, the South Burlington, Vermont dealership, and I'm going to give you a couple tips on the best way to put your new camper on your campsite and get it leveled up so you guys can enjoy your camping weekend with your new RV. Today we're here, we've got a brand new Cougar X-Lite 28 RBS that we're going to be using for our test model, and so I'm just going to give you a couple tips, and here we go. All right, so here we are backing into our campsite. What you want to do is just kind of line up and pick your spot that you want the camper to be on the campsite, and then go ahead and back right up onto the site. That looks pretty good right there. All right, so now that we've backed on our desired spot on our campsite at our local campground or wherever we might be camping this weekend, good judges. I know we don't have any trees right here in the gravel pit, but most campsites do have some trees. So how I judge the distance of my slide for trees that may be in the area is I simply put my back against the camper and put my arm out. Now the end of my fingers represents a slide that's fully out. So if there's any trees close by, this is a great way to kind of measure it with all the stuff that you have available on you at all times. So make sure there's no trees in the way. End of the fingers is a good judge. Okay, here we are on our next step. As you can see, I still have the trailer hooked to the truck, and I've gone inside and I've actually run my slide out. Now when we put a slide out, that's gonna shift the weight on the trailer and actually make it lean to the slide outside a little bit. So we need to compensate for that when we get the slide out and we get on the site to make this thing level. Now on this camper here, I've installed a couple levels on the side that we can purchase in the Pete's RV store or Pete's RV online. This just really helps level in the camper, easy spots to see as we're doing it on the driver's side of the vehicle. So I'm looking at my level here, and it looks like we're leaning a little bit to the slide side. As I mentioned, we may be. So what I'm going to do is mark where my wheels are, and I'm going to pull the truck ahead a little bit, make some adjustments under the wheels so we level this camper out. All right, so here we are in the back of our trailer. Now, I've marked my wheels and I've pulled the truck ahead just a hair because I'm going to back up on to this block here to help level the camper out. Now, a lot of people think that they can level a camper with the stabilization jacks. That's not really the case. These guys are just more meant to stabilize the camper, give us stability once we are level. They're not meant to lift the weight of the camper to compensate for the weight that the slide transverses onto this side. So little misconception there, but If you do it this way, you're going to be right and you're not going to hurt your jacks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get back in the truck and I'm going to back up onto this block here, which will lift this side of the camper a hair, give us a nice level floor inside. All right, so you can see I've backed the truck up now with the trailer, and we've backed it onto our tri-leveler, and I've checked the levels in the front. So we've got our left to right level now. We've compensated for putting the slide out. So what I want to do at this point is go ahead and put my wheel chuck in front of this wheel here so the trailer can't roll forward once I unhook the truck. Once I unhook the truck, we can get our front to back level, and then we're going to be camping. So as you can see here, we've backed up onto the tri-leveler, and I have installed the wheel chuck in front of the wheel. So when we unhook the trailer from the truck, we won't roll forward. All right, so as you can see, I've unhooked the truck from the camper, and at this point we've already got our left to right level, as we saw a little bit earlier in the video. Now we want to get our front to back level. So with, again, the truck unhooked from the camper, I'm going to look at the level on the side right here, and I'm seeing I'm sitting a little bit high in the front from unhooking from the truck. So I want to go ahead and use my tongue jack to lower the camper. This works really easy with an electric tongue jack as well. So that looks pretty good right there. So now we've got our left to right level, we've got our front to back level. We can go ahead and put down the stabilization jacks. Okay, so here we are at the stabilization jacks. If your camper has electric stabilizers on it, you go ahead and run them down. This particular one here has the manual operation. I like to use my screw gun with the appropriate size socket on it. Run the jack to the ground and snug it up. So to finish up, I ran around to the other 3 jacks on the camper and went ahead and put those down. So we're level left to right, front to back, all the stabilizer down. We're ready to start camping. I hope these tips helped you on getting your new unit onto your site, and thanks for thinking Pete's RV. Hey guys, Randy with Pete's RV TV here today. Today we're on our way to Lone Pine Campground in Mounts Bay, Vermont. We're going to show you how to back up a camper and put it on the site. So we'll be there in just a minute and we'll catch up with you then. Okay, here we are at beautiful Lone Pine Campground. They're nice enough to let us use the site today. So I'm just going to pull past my site. We're going to be on site 31. I'm going to hop out and take a look at the site and see where I want to put this camper, and then we're going to go right ahead and back her on the site. Okay, so what I've done at this point, and this is the easiest way to put your camper on the site, is I've driven past the site and I've got the site on the driver's side of the truck. I do that on purpose so I can see where the slide side or the off-door side of the camper is going, because that's the side that we want to keep as far this way as possible to give us more real estate on the usable part of our site. So if you can all do that when you pull up to your campsite, try to keep the driver's side on the site side. Not all the time you'll be able to do that, but if you can, that's definitely going to work in your benefit. So at this point, I just kind of walk the site and see what I've got that I got to avoid, or if there's any trees in the way. We see we've got a big stump here. I see my power pedestals over here, so I'm going to want to keep my camper, keep in mind that I've got a slide that's going to go out, but I want to keep my camper as far this way as possible to give me as much real estate on that side as I mentioned before. So this looks like a pretty open site, which most campsites are. We just got to contend with the stump there. My power cord's going to be in the back, so that'll work out perfectly for me. So I guess what I'm going to do now is just hop back in the truck and see if we can negotiate this guy onto the site. Okay, so I'm going to pull ahead just a hair, and I'm going to kind of put the tail of my camper headed in the right direction that I want to back this guy up on. Now, very important at this point is remembering that our wheels are the pivot point for our camper. So that's where the camper is going to turn. So I don't want to watch the front of the camper or the back so much. I want to keep my eyes on the wheels. So here we go. And sometimes when I'm driving a different truck, this truck's working out pretty well, but sometimes I'll even angle the mirror down so I can see the wheels a little bit better. So I'll make sure I got nothing going on the other side of me. And I'm just letting the camper kind of do the job here. Keeping an eye on both mirrors. Obviously turn the steering wheel the opposite way that you want the unit to go. And as you start getting close to where you want to be straight, that's when you want to start counter steering. And we're getting the unit on there pretty straight, nothing on the other side. Boy, I think I'm going to hit this one pretty good right off the bat. Now, if you're finding that you're not backing on straight, or you know the camper just keeps jackknifing on you a little bit, maybe you don't have enough room in front of the truck to get the truck out where you need it to get you straight, you always can put the truck back in drive and pull forward and straighten the trailer out. So if you've gone too far past and the camper's going the wrong way, or the back end of the camper has gone too far the way you don't want it to go, simply put the truck in drive and pull straight ahead, and that's going to straighten the unit out for you. So we're going to just back this guy up here. And I think I've hit my mark. Now this is the point where, if you've watched my leveling video, is where you want to get out and check the camper for level. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so that first time went very easy because there's not a whole lot of people in the park. So now I'm going to try to simulate a full park with cars and campers on my other side, and I'm going to try to keep my vehicle on the road without going on the lawn over there like I did on the last pull in. So this time I'm going to start backing up a little bit sooner. So I've just got my camper kind of headed, and you can see with the camper headed, it's going to start to turn even with my truck straight. And the camper is just starting to turn more and more. So I'm going to compensate just a hair now for it. Now I'm really going to jackknife this camper and try to swing this thing around. Now I can start to turn my truck a little bit. So I've stayed on the road for the most part. I've got my camper pretty straight, but you see that the back end of the camper still wants to swing around because I don't have enough room in front of the truck to get it to where I want to go. And this is where people mostly run into trouble. So I've got a trick for this too. If I keep backing up, my back end of my camper is just going to keep swinging where I don't want it to swing. A lot of people will go back and forth, and they never find that happy spot. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to stop the truck right here, and I'm going to unhook the camper. Sounds crazy, but this will get you out of a pinch in a second. Okay, so as you can see, we turned off the camera. I unhooked the truck from the camper. I resituated my truck, so now my truck is straight in line with the camper, and we can continue to back up on the site. And now we're not going to be jackknifing or having the camber off angle on our site, because I've now straightened the truck out, and that was our problem. So I'm going to hop back in the truck and finish backing up on the site, and we're going to be good to go here. Okay, so here we go, back up for our final destination. If you got somebody with you behind you to keep an eye out, not a bad idea. That looks good right about there. So at this point I'm going to get out and do a couple of the checks that I like to do, just to make sure I've got enough room. Now, we know we've got our stump here, so I'm going to do my arm check. We've got plenty of room there. I'm right off my electrical box. My electrical cord's going to be here, so I'm within my 25 feet here. I think this looks like a great spot. I'm going to run the slide out and check the levels on the front of the camper and see if we're level, and then we're going to take it from there. So in a nutshell, a lot of people get intimidated by this. It's a really simple process. Don't care about anybody watching me. I'm just focused on what I'm doing. It does take a little bit of practice. You're not going to hit the mark on the first time out, but the more and more you do it, and the less you worry about other people watching you, the easier it's going to be for you. So just follow my quick tips. Make sure you watch your wheels, watch your mirrors. If you can't get the camper exactly where you want, unhook the truck and resituate the truck, and the next time you'll be right on the site, right where you want it. So thanks again for watching Pete's RV TV with Randy today. new segment here for you. Hopefully this will help make your camping a little bit easier. Check out our other videos, check out our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page. We've always got a great information on there as well. So thanks again for watching Pete's RV, and happy camping. Hey guys, Randy from Pete's RV here today. Another quick tip segment for you. This segment is going to be for our dry campers out there, or the people looking to get a little bit more longevity out of their batteries. So hooking up a couple batteries on to your 12-volt supplied camper. So what we're going to do here today is we're going to hook up two batteries in parallel. So we'll have two 12-volt batteries to provide power to our camper so we can use it off the grid for a little while longer. First thing you want to do when you're hooking something up in parallel is figure out which is positive and which is negative on your batteries. This is very important for us. And the next thing you want to do is you want to make yourself some jumper wires, or you can purchase these at an automotive store, or we can make them for you here at Pete's RV as well. So when we're hooking something up in parallel, we're pretty much going positive to positive and negative to negative. And back to the jumper wires that I just talked about, is we want to make sure the jumper wires that we use are going to be equal or a greater gauge than the wires that are on the camper. If we use wires that are too small, now our wires become the fuse rather than the fuse that we have inside the camper to protect this coach. So a smaller wire could actually heat up and melt where a larger wire will not. So we want to make sure that those wires are the appropriate gauge. So we're going to go ahead and put these batteries up here on the camper, show you how to hook them up in parallel, give you a little bit more longevity out of those batteries when you're dry camping. All right, so here we are on the front of our Bullet Premier that we have here in the Burlington, Vermont location showroom. I'm doing this video today without battery boxes, which we would usually install on here to protect the batteries, but a little bit easier to see it when shooting the video, so we're gonna leave those out today. So what I've done is I've situated my batteries on the A-frame here. This unit is set up to take two batteries, and I've got my ground wire and my positive wire that normally feed the camper on a one battery setup. Now you can always tell your ground wire because it's gonna be hooked to the A-frame or to the chassis of the coach, and that's how we achieve ground throughout the coach. So I know this wire is my ground wire because it's hooked right here to the A-frame. This black wire here is going to be my positive wire because it goes back to one of the self-resetting breakers on the front of this camper. So I've hooked my battery to the positive. Now I'm going to take this ground wire and I'm actually going to hook it to the negative on the opposite battery. That way we're pulling both of these batteries down together. If we hook them both to one, chances are the second battery is going to be pulled down at the same rate as the first battery. Another important thing when you're doing a setup like this is to use batteries purchased at the same time. If you use one older battery and one newer battery, you're only as good as your lower battery, and that's going to shorten your battery life. So make sure the batteries are equal and purchased at the same time and they start out fresh. So I've got the positive hooked to the positive over here on the battery, which is going to be kind of hard to see there, but I can see it here. I've got the negative hooked up here. So now what we're going to want to do is hook up another positive wire from the positive of this battery to the positive of this battery. We can go ahead and put our nuts on now. Lock that down there. I'll put this guy on here. Good idea to snug these up pretty good and make sure that the terminals are very clean and the battery connections are very clean on your wires as well. That way you're going to get the best voltage you can have supplied to you. Well, I'm going to set this one over here to the negative. Turn it around a little bit easier to hook it up for us. We'll put that nut on there. Tighten that down. I'll go back and snug things up later with one of my wrenches. I'm going to hook this negative here. So now we have just successfully hooked these two batteries up in parallel, so it's going to give us 12-volt supply to the coach and going to give us a lot more longevity when we are using this camper in a dry camping situation. Now these batteries will be charged while we're driving down the road. If you've got an appropriate charge line in the truck, that's the best way to charge these batteries. But there's a simple parallel hookup, positive to positive, negative to negative. Make sure you put your positive from the trailer on one battery, your negative from the trailer on the other battery. That way they will decell at the same time, and make sure your batteries are purchased at the same time. We've always got discounted pricing here on batteries at Pete's RV Center, so we can take care of you in that regard as well. So there it is in a nutshell. Parallel wiring, two 12-volt batteries. This will get you where you need to go on your dry camping. Thanks again for watching Pete's RV with Randy today, and come see us on our Facebook page. Check us out on YouTube as always, and once again, thanks for thinking Pete's RV, and happy camping.